Hi, I'm Jo Huey, and today I'm going to talk about anxiety. Um, when I was younger, living with my father, who was an alcoholic, um, I I knew that things weren't quite right. I knew that he was drinking, and I felt very on edge in his company. The environment was very unpredictable. So for anyone that's lived in that environment, you'll totally relate to this, I'm sure. Um, he'd come home from work. We wouldn't know from one minute to the next what mood he was going to be in. Is he going to walk through that door in a good mood? Or is he going to walk through that door with a face on him which set the fear of God into you? So a very kind of eggshell environment. So when I was younger, I would feel very apprehensive, scared, and feeling like that in your own home is that feeling of feeling unsafe. It isn't. It's not very conducive to a very good home life. So as the years went on, and my father's drinking didn't get any better, and then through my life, I've experienced situations where I've felt very on edge, very uncomfortable. I've done a lot of worrying. I've overthought situations, planning for something to go wrong, or if something does go wrong, what am I going to do? Lots of ifs, ands, and buts. If this happens, then I'm going to do this, and then I can do that. But what if this happens? Then, would she say this, or would he do that? A lot you have to anticipate in an alcoholic home, and so that became a theme throughout my life. And again, I'm sure others will relate to that. And again, I think it was about 5 years ago or something, I heard this word anxiety. Never really, I think I may have heard of it, but certainly didn't think that was me. And I started looking into it. I started hearing it more and more. I don't really know if anyone said to me, oh, you're quite anxious, or I don't think that was the case. I think it was it sort of evolved over a number of years. So eventually I realised that I did suffer with anxiety, and so I decided to look more about it. What was it? And and I understood all of the things that I'd experienced: the worrying, the overthinking, panicking, planning for things 3 miles down the road that hadn't yet happened yet, or may not ever happen. It's exhausting. For anyone that can relate and can relate to what I'm describing, you may not think you've got anxiety, but you may relate to the overthinking, worrying, planning ahead, all of that kind of thing. It's exhausting. It really is. And I don't think we appreciate actually how exhausting it is, because it's what we do all the time. It's natural to us. It's just automatic. But I didn't really want to keep suffering, and that's what it was like, suffering the way I was. I didn't want to keep overthinking quite so much. I didn't, I'm not sure that you can ever really get rid of anxiety, but I think, I know that you can certainly learn techniques and ways in which to cope and recover quicker, which I feel is where I'm at now. So, I am a deep thinker. I do love analysis and things. That's my nature. It gets my mind thinking. I love it. But I certainly, if I cope well in a crisis situation, which again, those living in an alcoholic home, that's kind of what you do, what you get used to. But I certainly feel now that I'm better able to recover from any sort of attack, as it were, if I get anxious about the unknown. And also, I've started to, and this is very recently, started to say to people, actually, I do get a bit anxious. I don't really like, last minute changes or the unknown. And people have been very understanding, and I guess I've had a little bit of embarrassment about it, but it's becoming so more talked about now, and so, you know, people are so much more aware of anxiety that I think I'm glad it's becoming more accepted. So some key points I want to get across in the video is this. Breathing, amazing technique. Sounds really boring and we do it all the time automatically, otherwise we'd be dead. I can't tell you how helpful it is. I'm a singer as well, so, you know, I have to be aware of my breathing for singing. But breathing from the diaphragm, lower down in your stomach, making sure when you're breathing you can feel your ribs moving in and out. So if you put your hands either side on your ribs and breathe deeply, you should feel them, and it, if you know, affects around the back as well. You should start feeling that moving. As soon as you start doing upper chest breathing, that's where you can get panicky and, you know, your anxiety's kicking in. So you need to start breathing from lower down, basically. So that's one thing that's really helped. And I have got a video on my YouTube clip about emotional freedom technique, which is a technique that I use. Amazing, amazing technique. It clears all negative energies in the body and is fantastic for anxiety. So I've put a breathing exercise on my YouTube channel. Just search for Jo Huey and that will come up, or you can look on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Jo L Huey. And it goes through a breathing technique which will help to get your breath to 100%, but you'll see from the exercise how that can help you, and you'll feel your breathing is so much clearer and full. So I would suggest doing that. I took up mindfulness, which again I think is amazing. And you can do it at home. There's so many video clips on YouTube. Anything by Jon Kabat-Zinn is fantastic. So there's a couple of tips to get you started if you do want to do anything with your anxiety and you want to have a look at that. But also, you know, look at my Facebook page. I'm sharing things all the time, and I'll be sharing some more video clips as well. I'd love to hear any stories and experiences that you have, so please feel free to private message me on my Facebook page. You can also email jo@johuey.co.uk. Take care, look after yourselves.